If you're a white person, we need to start getting even louder on behalf of our friends and family who are minorities. Our government has antagonized them to no end. They're ripping up the street that proclaimed Black Lives Matter. They're removing accomplishments from our minority service members off of the Pentagon website. And now our federal government erased a ban on contractors who run segregated facilities. They are trying so hard to enrage our brothers and sisters of color.
Now, over the years, we have seen how Black people have struggled to ensure that some of the challenges they face in life are eliminated. For example, look at the civil rights movement in the United States. They fought tooth and nail, and they fought pouring their blood to the streets to ensure that the future generation of Black Americans get proper rights, that they can live in America without fear of being intimidated. But still, regardless of the fight they have put in, we are still finding out that some discriminative practices continue, and because they are interwoven within the American systems, eliminating them needs a rewinding of the entire political and governance structure of America. However, right now, people are speaking out and saying that Black people seem to be uninterested in going to fight for noble causes that are affecting almost everybody in the society. For example, looking at how Trump's policies have not really borne positive changes towards making American society better. They're finding out that cost of living is still uncontrolled. They're finding out that some of the good things they used to enjoy before are being cut by the new policies that are coming in. So I came across this clip of a white lady speaking about how whites love being in the comfort zone. They don't want to go out fighting because they know they have been taught through history that most things they get, they are given because of the white privilege that they have. So she was speaking and she got a lot of commentaries trying to really affirm the points she was putting across. I want us to watch her clip first, then we're going to listen to the reactions that came to support this comment that she gave. Let's watch, then come back and share our thoughts.
White people won't fight for their own liberation because the consequences of fighting for their own liberation does not currently outweigh the oppression that they are under. I used to think that empathy would be a thing, but then I realized that the majority of Americans do have some concept of the history that really went on, and they're minimizing it because our education system lets them. And let's be real, because our parents told us really not nice and not good and not true things about other communities, because they did. Don't look at me and say they didn't, because they did. Every single one of us knows at least 3 stereotypical race-driven jokes that all of our relatives said. I have seen white people lie to themselves so badly that they don't honestly know that they're in poverty. I've seen white people completely unaware of the fact that they were disabled and talk very strongly in negative fashion about both of those communities. So I honestly believe that until white people's oppression becomes heavier than the consequences of liberation, not a lot of this is going to change. So it might actually take fascism. And even then, 80 years after that.
If you're a white person, we need to start getting even louder on behalf of our friends and family who are minorities. Our government has antagonized them to no end. They're ripping up the street that proclaimed Black Lives Matter. They're removing accomplishments from our minority service members off of the Pentagon website. And now our federal government erased a ban on contractors who run segregated facilities. They are trying so hard to enrage our brothers and sisters of color. They want them angry and they want them out in the streets. It is so clear. I'm so proud of them for not taking the bait. I'm so proud of them for staying home and resting. But as they do, we have to fight on their behalf. The Civil Rights Act was only passed in 1964. I'm in my early 40s, but my parents grew up with segregation in their schools. And there's no way in hell, all these years later, we're going to go backwards to anything even remotely resembling that. If places are segregated and say whites only, that's not a place I will ever be. And any line of thinking that keeps us separate from one another is a thinking that we need to reject loudly and wholeheartedly. Nobody is better than anybody else in this country because of the color of their skin. We are not, in 2025, going to sit around and watch as a bunch of people make laws trying to make us go backwards. We have to be the loudest ones. We have to be the protectors. We have to be the allies. We have to be the advocates. We have to be the ones whose voices are the loudest and saying, we will not go backwards, and you will not oppress the minority community. Not on our watch. Not now and not ever.
To all my white privileged friends who decided to use their privilege to bless somebody else, thank you. We see you, we appreciate you, and we love you. Never stop doing good. Use that power you have, whether you recognize it or not, acknowledge it or not, to be a blessing to those whose voices aren't often heard. Thanks for standing up for justice, for integrity and character. Again, we see you, we appreciate you, we love you. Thank you.
When Black Americans tell you that they're sitting this one out, and they are not going to get involved with all of this stuff that's going on in America because they did their job on November 5th. I'm here for it. And I'll tell you why I'm here for it. Angie Wong was on CNN with Abby Phillips. Angie Wong is second-generation Chinese. And somehow Angie Wong, being second-generation Chinese who was previously excluded from the United States of America because of the Chinese Exclusion Act that the civil rights movement changed to allow her parents to come here, to then have her here in America, that they are no longer allies to anyone but white people. She was president of America first. She's a Republican. She is talking about the people in New York, that they're fearful. And that's why people move to Florida and how much land they can get in Florida. I'm a Floridian. Florida is one of the most expensive states in the United States of America. And I'm going to tell you how expensive they are. Your property tax is a mortgage in itself, even when you get homestead exemption. So that's a lot of bullshit. The public supermarkets are one of the most expensive supermarkets in the United States of America. Everything down here is expensive in Florida. So trying to rationalize it with New York is bullshit. I bought a house in Broward County. That house was built in the 1970s. It was a prefab house for $35,000. The house today, the taxes on that house is $11,000. And supposedly, the house is worth $400,000. The house is not worth $400,000. I mean, I sold the house back in the 2000s, but I am telling you, I lived there for 20 years. It's not worth $400,000. So Angie Wong is claiming all the rich people will leave. Well, when they get to Florida, they will find some tax bills that they have never seen. And Angie Wong is typical of why the black people in America have said they're sitting this one out. Because the minute that they come here, they realign themselves with the same people who try to exclude them and then learn how to oppress the people who were here already. That is a typical immigrant who does not want, these Asians, they do not want to be part of the BIPOC community, and black Americans are disengaging from them, and I don't blame them, because they're 100% right. But go watch that interview with Angie Wong, second-generation Chinese, who was previously excluded from this country, talk about all the white supremacy talking points.
Black woman, I need us to stop giving grace to every fucking body. I need us to stop giving grace to these men, to society, to non-Black women of color, to white society in general. I really need us to stop being as graceful as we are, as resilient as we're known to be, because what do we have to show for it after centuries of giving grace? Grace that we never ever receive from anybody fucking else in this society. We don't receive it from our own men, that's for goddamn sure. And we certainly don't receive it from white society. We don't receive it from other non-Black women of color when we are advocating for them. Please recall that those same people, all of those people in all of those groups I just listed, couldn't bother giving us grace in that fucking voting booth in November of 2024. And I fully understand the logic behind it. We are extremely empathetic, and it's the same grace that we don't receive that we so willingly and freely give to society, to groups of people who go out of their way to harm us. You know, I get it. I totally understand it. I'm victim to it myself, and I'm extremely guilty of it to myself. So I'm preaching to myself when I say this. We need to be just a teensy bit more selfish. And I also think we as Black women need to modify our definitions of selfishness, because it is so ingrained in us. We are trained and brainwashed from conception to believe that any form of self-advocacy, any form of putting yourself first or setting any kind of boundary in any part of your life is immediately selfish, and we are immediately demonized anytime we prioritize ourselves in any way, no matter how small or big. I totally understand that. It's literally undoing centuries of brainwashing. It's in our cells, it's in our DNA, it's in our thought processes, but we have to start somewhere. Because the rates at which we are perishing from cancers, from autoimmune diseases, from suicide, the rates at which we are suffering with mental health crises, the rates at which we are dying like alone without the support that we give to others, the rates at which we are suffering, even if we're alive, we're like living in survival adrenaline mode rather than really living and thriving. It has to stop somewhere.
I'm going to try to make this short and sweet, but I find conversations about the 92% or Black women or Black people resting or sitting this one out and the finger wagging that comes with it to be disingenuous and offensive, even more so offensive when it comes from a face that looks like mine. And I find these conversations to be offensive because y'all are treating Black people, especially Black women, as if they're fucking stupid. Especially when I see talking points of, don't they know that they're next? Why are Black women falling into this dangerous alt-right pipeline? They're falling into white supremacy. That's not the case, and it never has been. Black women have told y'all why they and myself refuse to not be on the front lines. And even when we are vocal about it and the reasoning is right there in your face, y'all will speed past the shit. Y'all will ignore the shit because it doesn't fit some damn narrative that you've warped in your mind. And all it shows me is that y'all think that Black people, especially Black women, are expendable. That we're expendable tokens of justice. And tokens always get spent. And Black women have said no. And it also goes to show me that you guys do not understand that rest does not equal inaction. I can support in other ways that don't require me getting my head not between the washer and the dryer. Because I think it's kind of asinine for y'all to ask me, a member of a marginalized community, to put my body on the line. Have y'all lost it?
I don't care what nobody says. Being held accountable by your own kind is the most effective method. The only method that I might place above that is the feel it to learn method, where you got to make them feel it to learn. That's the only other method that I would put above that. But being told about yourself by somebody who looks like yourself, it just hits differently. It's almost like, damn self, you might be onto something. Damn self, damn twin, I got to listen to you because you look like me. And it's for that reason alone why I gotta leave the Latino community, why I gotta leave the Cuban American community in Florida specifically, why I gotta leave the I will vote Donald Trump with this clip. I gotta leave you guys with this clip.
100%. African African American community is the only community that has the power in this country to change anything. They are the only one with the experience of civil matter. They are the only one que tenían el esclavo ahí mismitico. They are the only one that are not going to get deported anywhere, and you cannot put them all in jail. So African American community, which is the community that is stepped on by Cubans, the most are the only ones that are going to save the Latinos. And
Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? Because it's the exact same sentiments that every African American person, every Black American person have been screaming since elections time. The same exact sentiments. And now, because of the bullshit that the Latino community have entered themselves into, literally voting against the same exact group of people that now hold the power of being able to save you. She said it. She said it. See, I knew this. I knew that it's only the African American community, that it's only the Black American community that can save the Latino community from the bullshit that they got themselves into. I knew this. But see, you're not going to listen when I say it. But you'll probably listen when she says it. And the thing about it too, see, technically, I'm a Latina. I'm Haitian. But I'm not the Latina that you're going to listen to. I'm not. That one, though, she is. She is. She has that proximity to whiteness that you guys respect. Right? So now she states that it's only the African American community that can save the Latino community from the bullshit that you guys put yourselves into. And you only are in that because you were so hell-bent on voting against the same exact group, against the interest, the self-interest for that same group of people that now are the only ones that can save you. Look at that, full circle.
For the African American community that has not come out because it is not. I do. We didn't do shit for them.
I get it. But I don't.
Me and you support, but in masses, we didn't support anything that was going with them. Latinos look at Cubans specifically. I'm not gonna talk about any other community because I'm not part of that community, even though I'm a Latina with them. Cubans talk shit about African Americans.
It's true.
Cubans did not support African Americans. Cubans think that they all victimize themselves, of this, all of that. African Americans are the only ones that are going to save your asses, Latinos. So you better start kissing. If you're going to kiss some ass in this country, you better kiss some Black ass.
Again, it's not coming out of my mouth. She said it. She said it, and she's 100% right. For the I will vote Donald Trump. You guys, y'all got to start kissing some Black ass. Y'all all better get to kissing some Black asses. And right now, the Black asses ain't moving for shit. If it's not for them, they're not moving. They're not moving. So I don't know how you guys gonna make it through. But she just said it. She said it. It's the African American community. It is the Black American community that can save you guys from the bullshit that you are in. And you can think the I will vote Donald Trump. Think them.
I gotta say this, every marginalized community that Black Americans supported in their movement, after those communities got where they wanted to go, they either distanced themselves from Black people or they became anti-Black. And that's from the immigrant community, the Latino and Asian community, to the LGBTIA community. The Black people in those communities, their voice and representation are marginalized. Check out the white feminist movement. Even though Black American women are the foundation of feminist movements, Sojourner Truth, Bell Hooks, their voice are marginalized in those communities. They're not heard. Every time there's a feminist movement or a feminist event, the speakers are white women. And let's not talk about these immigrant communities. The Latino and Asian community have the same anti-Black sentiments against the Black American community that white nationalists have. None of these groups reciprocate the love. All these Asians and Latino representatives, they're against reparations. The feminist movement, they never put black women as the face of that movement, even though they're the foundation of that movement. And look at the LGBTIA ... community. If you don't look like Ellen DeGeneres, you're not going to be recognized.
This is a message to all my Black people. How many times do we have to be shown that we need to unify and work together to really build something beautiful for ourselves? How many times do we have to be shown that what these people are putting out, like all the propaganda, all the stuff that these white people saying, like, shoot, you even got the Bible, for instance, but I don't even want to go there. How many times do we have to stop being spoon-fed some BS before we wake up and realize, oh, it's BS? Like, what? How come we can see all these other races? You got Indians, you got Chaldeans, Arabs, Chinese, Mexican. You got all these other minority communities. When we're talking about minority, but the real minority is the white people. How do we have all these examples of people that work together and build beautiful communities? You want a nice big home? A lot of their families work together to build that nice big home, and they split the cost and they do all of that good stuff. Why do we have all these examples to still sit here and be dumb saying, oh, well, I got to do it on my own. I can't help that person up because then they might take from me. And then that's another part. Why do you think you got to take from your own people? I know it's all about the environment that you raised in, but you got to be more than a product of your environment. People look up to all these Kobe's, the Shaq, the LeBron James. You look up to all these athletes and be like, oh, I want to take care of my family. I want to take care of my family. Like, let me get like that. I'm going to make sure everybody good. Why do you have to have that mindset when you get the money and you can't have it right now? Why can't you build each other up instead of waiting to try and build somebody up? Because in all reality, the only thing money does is really highlight how you are as a person right now. And if that's not the type of person you are, that's not the type of person you're going to be. And sometimes if you want to be that person where, okay, now I got it, so I'm going to just give it out, you ain't even making any smart moves with that. People get so much money and they go broke so quick because they making dumb financial decisions. As a people, we have been oppressed for way too long, spoon-fed a lot of BS, and we know it's BS. That's what's even worse. We know it's some garbage. But we still eating. I ain't even gonna say we, because I ain't on that. But you still eating it, bro. Like, don't it get tired eating shit? Don't you want to throw up? We can't have all these examples of all these other communities giving us the blueprint on how to make it work and how to make it. And then we sit here and wonder, like, well, why ain't nothing going right? Why is it always like this? Because, nigga, you ain't doing the work. Because you continuing to always, you're continuously taking from your own people. Because you feel like you can't let the next man be better than you. There is more than enough to go around. They make money out of thin air, bro. Thin air. And you think it's not enough. It's not enough to go around. But we got all these examples from all these other communities on how their families are thriving, how they have stores. You got the Asians that own all like the hair supply stores. You got the Chaldeans and Arabs owning the gas stations, the liquor stores. Indians got a lot of food markets and stuff like that. And what do black people have? We have the ability to influence the culture. Right? Are we only going to be the influence and not be able to provide for our influence? We influence different hairstyles. We influence different food. We influence different types of things like the liquors and all that. But we can't own the stores? Like, this don't make sense, bro. We have to do better as a people. Because it's too evident and too obvious when you have the blueprint in your face. All these communities are doing one thing. And they're doing this one thing, what? Together. Oh my God. Am I really putting something new out here? They're doing it together, bro. And imagine if we all came together, because we got this issue with, I'm gonna tell you, these white people over here thinking they superior and they are the majority. They're not. And that's the problem. They think, and they have everybody else thinking that they are. But bro, we all came together. Now what? I think, aren't they less than 10 or 2%? You know, they are so low of a race, but so high in confidence and misinformation that we just eating it up. Nigga, how can you keep eating it up? I don't. So somebody piss in your cup and tell you it's water. I'm just expecting, from what I've seen now, that people believe it and they gonna drink it. Not me, bro. This is ridiculous.
I'm gonna say this. Latinos been eating off the Black American community for too long, and they never reciprocate anything. Even from their labor rights, they got they playbooks, the plays in their leaders' playbook, they got from Black Americans. Asa Philip Randolph. This was a Black American with the first successful Black American labor union. The Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. He showed everybody you could be from a marginalized group without any mainstream motion, and you could still get stuff done. So out of his playbook, they took his strategies and applied it to their movements. Before that, they didn't have no motion. They didn't have a playbook. But after they seen Asa Philip Randolph and his movement, his labor union movement, they took his plays. Caesar Chavez.
Wow, what a great piece of commentary there. Because if you look at how those people have spoken, I believe everything they have said about the culture of white people is definitely true, because it is in the blood of black people to always fight. You know, they were born fighting. Their great-grandparents fought for the spaces that they enjoyed. Their great-grandparents endured a lot of challenges during slavery, but still they stood and they led and taught new generations that for you to get something in the United States, you must get out and fight for it. However, if you look at the culture that most whites have always held over the years, much of the things they are getting is just because they are benefiting from the white privilege that exists in the United States. There are certain job opportunities, if you look at how whites get them, it's not because they are qualified. It's because they have that white skin in them. So if you try comparing the chances of a black person and a white person getting employment with the same qualifications, you will get that the black person will end up being jobless, but the white guy will get employed just because he is a white person. So this really explains the fact that whites in their nature were taught and have been brought up not fighting for anything. This might be controversial, I guess, but it is that which is ingrained in them, and they are just living it the way they have been taught. Another aspect that you also have to look at in this case is the fact that history books has always made whiteness look like it is something that must be glorified. And therefore, for them, they feel that there is a certain group of people who should be going outside there to fight for them and not them by themselves. Why do I say this? If you look at those who have been fighting against things like police brutality in the United States, for them, it's blacks. If you look at those who have been fighting and wanting the economy to have better prospects for Americans, it is blacks, because even in good economy for white people, blacks still suffer. So it is better for them to have whites continuing to thrive so that they also have an elevation of poverty that gets within their communities. So if you look at this deeply, you'll realize that black people are really in a hard place, and whites must just realize that it is time for them to also fight for their own things. For example, look at what happened last year. Kamala Harris presented herself and she wanted to be voted in, but then she faced a hard barrier from white majority and white nationalists in the United States. When now the consequences of electing Trump is coming out, they're now crying out loud and saying, why are blacks looking like they are uninterested in joining other groups to fight against oppressions from Donald Trump. This is something that I think blacks must have their time to really have peace. It is not like it is them who must always go out and fight. It is not like it is them who must always go out to really fight for just causes. Let them have their time to rest, and other minority groups or even white majority come and really realize that it is time America changed how they vote. It's not about voting because someone has a certain skin pigmentation. It is about voting for someone who will give you a better policy that will make life better for you in future. That is what Americans should do. And when blacks say that they are sitting out all the protests that people are proposing to them, I support them for that, because they had their time and they talked to people and said, let's elect Kamala Harris. They decided to elect Donald Trump, and it is upon them to live by the actions and the reactions that come from the choices that they made. Share your comments down in the comment section and your views about what that white lady said on the fact that whites are so much afraid to go fight for their rights, and they are much easier and happier when they are embracing the challenges and oppressions that they have in their lives. So share your thoughts. If you're watching us also for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, and also share. Thank you, and let's meet on the next one.